Georgia has the best wine in the world? The 8,000-year secret nobody talks about. Everything you know about wine is wrong. When most people think of wine, they think of France, Italy, maybe Spain. But what if the real birthplace of wine isn't in Western Europe at all? What if one small country has been making wine for over 8,000 years, longer than anyone else on Earth? A country where ancient winemaking methods are still used today. A country many wine lovers have never even visited. And according to archaeologists, this isn't just a claim. It's a fact. So why isn't everyone talking about it? And does Georgia really produce the best wine in the world? The answer might completely change how you see wine forever. Before we uncover the truth, welcome to Siam Rift, the channel where we explore hidden destinations, untold histories, and fascinating facts from around the world. If you love discovering places that most people overlook, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because after this video, you'll never look at wine or Georgia the same way again. If you ask most people where wine was born, you'll hear the same answers. France, Italy, maybe Greece. But the evidence tells a different story. Deep in the Caucasus region, between Europe and Asia, lies the country of Georgia. And according to archaeological discoveries, Georgia may be the very first place where humans intentionally made wine. Scientists discovered traces of wine residue inside ancient clay vessels dating back roughly 6,000 BC. That's around 8,000 years ago. Think about that for a second. When these wines were being made, many of the world's famous civilizations didn't even exist yet. The Roman Empire? Not even close. Medieval Europe? Thousands of years away. Modern France? Still unimaginable. Wine wasn't just part of Georgian culture. Wine was helping create Georgian culture. And that is where this story becomes even more fascinating. Because Georgians didn't just invent wine. They preserved ancient winemaking traditions that survived for thousands of years. While the rest of the world changed, Georgia kept its secrets alive. Transition. Now, discovering the birthplace of wine is impressive. But what if I told you the real mystery isn't where wine started? It's how Georgia managed to preserve an ancient winemaking method while the rest of the world moved on. And that's where things get fascinating. Imagine making wine without stainless steel tanks, without modern factories, without advanced technology. Sounds impossible today. But in Georgia, this ancient technique is still being used. The secret lies in something called a Qvevri. These are massive clay vessels buried underground. Grapes, skins, stems, and juice are placed inside and left to ferment naturally. No complicated machinery. No modern shortcuts. Just a method passed down through generations. For many Georgian winemakers, this isn't a business strategy. It's a way of life, a connection to ancestors who made wine thousands of years ago. And surprisingly, some experts believe this ancient approach creates flavors impossible to replicate with modern techniques. But here's where things become controversial. Having the oldest wine tradition doesn't automatically mean having the best wine. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, Georgia has an incredible history. But history alone doesn't make a wine the best in the world. So how do Georgian wines actually compare to France, Italy, and Spain? The answer surprised even me. This is where opinions start to clash. France has legendary vineyards. Italy produces some of the world's most celebrated wines. Countries like Spain, Argentina, Australia, and the United States have built enormous wine industries. So where does Georgia fit into all of this? The answer depends on what best means. If we're talking about history, Georgia wins. If we're talking about unique production methods, Georgia is among the most distinctive countries on Earth. If we're talking about grape diversity, Georgia is extraordinary. The country is home to more than 500 indigenous grape varieties, making it one of the most diverse wine regions in the world. Many of these grapes exist nowhere else. Names like Saperavi, Riccatitali, and Gishi may sound unfamiliar today, but among wine enthusiasts, they have developed a growing reputation. The result? flavors that many visitors have never experienced before. Some wines are rich and powerful. Others are complex, earthy, and surprisingly bold. And then there are Georgia's famous amber wines. These wines often leave first-time visitors shocked because they look unlike typical white wines. The experience is different. The taste is different. Even the story behind them is different. Transition. What you're about to hear is the reason Georgian wine is suddenly appearing on the global stage. And it has nothing to do with marketing. It's happening because the world is finally discovering something that Georgia has known for thousands of years. For years, Georgian wine remained relatively unknown outside its region. But that's changing. Fast. Today, Georgian wines are appearing in restaurants, wine competitions, and specialty shops across Europe, Asia, and North America. International tourism is also helping. Thousands of travelers now visit Georgian wine regions every year to see where wine history began. Places like Kakheti have become major attractions. Rolling vineyards, ancient monasteries, family-owned wineries, mountain views, and centuries of tradition. Many visitors arrive expecting a small wine destination. They leave wondering why the rest of the world doesn't talk about Georgia more often. And perhaps that's the biggest surprise. Georgia doesn't need to compete with France or Italy because its greatest strength is being completely different. So, does Georgia have the best wine in the world? There is no single answer. Wine is personal. What tastes amazing to one person might not impress another. But if we're talking about history, authenticity, uniqueness, and cultural significance, Georgia belongs in the conversation. This is a country where wine isn't just a drink. It's heritage, it's identity, it's history preserved in a glass. And after more than 8,000 years, the birthplace of wine is finally getting the recognition it deserves. But here's the truth nobody can ignore. The debate about the world's best wine may never end. Yet, one fact remains undisputed. Georgia isn't just another wine-producing country. It's where the story of wine began. And once you understand that, every glass of wine suddenly feels different. Because you're no longer drinking a beverage. You're drinking a piece of human history. If you enjoyed this journey into the birthplace of wine, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Siam Rift, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next adventure. And tell us in the comments, would you travel to Georgia just to taste its legendary wines? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep discovering the stories hidden beyond the headlines.